Welcome back, everybody, to a very special edition of Political Buzz here on WBBZ-TV. We're very honored to have Mark Russell, political satirist, Western New York native, 30 years on public television, performing across the country, most recently at the Riviera Theatre, the historic Riviera Theatre. When people go and see your show, Mark, of course, they see this, but you're not doing too many shows. You retired and then decided, I'm not going to retire.
I don't know if I should tell you why I retired. Yeah, this is a family station. But, but it's true. I retired because many years ago when I started doing this, I made a promise to myself that I would retire should the day ever come when I was expected to write a song about transvaginal ultrasound. And as you know,
there are things that are out there now
that day happened.
Yes.
Now I want to do something a little more topical because Ceausescu was quite a while ago.
It was, but you know.
Anyway, this is
it's a good song.
This is First came the Hurricane Sandy, then the president's victory so handy, then Republican rage, but it all was upstage when Petraeus turned out to be Randy. So give you an idea there.
It's been a year. It has been quite a year. Did you say you're the only one left that's reading a newspaper because that's where you get all your information from? You said you don't have an iPad.
No.
You know, how do you keep up? Imagine the world.
The newspaper is enough.
Okay.
We must preserve them. We really should.
That's true.
The seeds of our democracy were sown by Mark Twain. Mark Twain, he went out west to get a newspaper job at the Nevada Territorial Enterprise as a reporter. He had a problem. He couldn't dig up any news in that vast Nevada wasteland in those days. You know, they said, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas? No, there was no Vegas, and nothing happened. So what did he do? His name was Sam Clemens. He changed his name to Mark Twain. He started making stuff up out of hope, passing it off as news. Nobody minded. It was Mark Twain. And so to this day, many newspapers print pure fiction. They're called editorials.
There you are. And Mark Twain had his roots in Buffalo. How did you go from...
By the way, I came across a quote of his.
Okay.
He worked for the Buffalo Courier.
Right, for a little while.
It was in 1902. There's a quote, he gave some advice to the Buffalo Teachers Union. And it said, do what you have to do today and repent tomorrow, which is a pretty good message to give to Congress, don't you think?
I think so.
Yeah,
maybe you should take that right up to the Capitol.
Well, you know, what bothers me is, as far as the economy, nobody in Washington knows how to fix the economy. And what's worse, nobody in Washington knows that nobody in Washington knows how to fix the economy.
Well, do you bring that Buffalo sensibility to them? Because, you know, you came from a family, hardworking background to say, look, you know, I'm from Buffalo. I can help you fix this. I mean, when you connect with these folks, do you bring a lot of that Western New York?
Because if I tell them I live in Washington, they're not going to trust me.
That's right. You come from somewhere else.
Yeah, I remember when Bill Clinton was inaugurated, they had this. He said, "I still believe in a place called Hope." Remember that?
Yeah.
I still believe in a place called Hope. So I started my show. I was at Ford's Theater in Washington that night, the inauguration. I said, "Good evening. My name is Mark Russell, and I still believe in a place called Buffalo." And that's when they were playing let's not stop thinking about tomorrow, whatever, Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
And I thought Fleetwood Mac was a Cadillac dealer.
Yeah. Another great Buffalonian, and we talked about him just a little bit ago with Phil, was Tim Russert, graduate of Canisius and a good friend of yours. And
he graduated from Canisius in you know, it's funny. I graduated from Canisius the year he was born, and
wow.
Yeah, 1950. And when he died, it was like a president dying. The memorial service filled the Opera House at the Kennedy Center, and I did meet the press 3 times, and he lived right around the corner from me in D.C. And so one day I was taking out the trash. And he's turning the corner. And I was taking out, and he stops the car, rolled down, and he said, "Can you meet the press a week from Sunday?" I said, "Well, that's a perfect Washington story." But
and you did.
Yeah, he did this dead-on impersonation of Senator Moynihan.
That's right.
In fact, it was so good.
He worked for him.
He worked for Senator Moynihan, and one morning somebody overslept in the office, and the senator himself called the guy at home, and they said, "Well, you're late. What are you coming at the work? And the guy thought it was Russert.
Oh, no.
It's the senator himself. What? Well, it's 11 o'clock, Buttercup. And the guy said, F you, Russert.
Oh, no. Unbelievable. And do you watch any of the other contemporary political satirists that are out there now on television,
I do.
like Colbert and Jon Stewart?
Yeah,
what do you think?
there's a little reward.
Because you were the first, Mark. You were the first.
Sometimes, well, let's not forget Mr. Twain.
Well, that's true. Right. On television.
Well, Will Rogers said, I never met a man I didn't like. I've met plenty, let me tell you. What was the question?
Do you watch Jon Stewart and Colbert and those guys?
I'm an older person.
No, I am too.
Yes, I do. I love Stewart. I never knew much about Stewart because we didn't get Comedy Central in Washington for many years. We thought, well, C-SPAN will suffice. But so then we finally got Stewart, and I was impressed with the line he did. It wasn't even political. He said, the African Americans invented jazz, and the whites turned it into Kenny G. And I love that.
That's a funny line. Yeah. Before we go to break, tell a funny story about your daughter in Washington, D.C., because I do think it's rather interesting how she was, quote unquote, christened into the political fires.
Yeah, my daughter she was only about 3 or 4 years old, and so I had to go to lunch at this little bar on Capitol Hill where I was working. I guess, I don't know, pick up my paycheck or something. And so my wife and I brought the baby, and we put the baby on the table. And there's about 3 or 4 people sitting on the table. These were the days when the 3-martini lunch was a reality, and everybody's smoking, and there's lobbyists and members of Congress, and this is the same room I worked in at night, see? So there's the baby. Now, there was this lobbyist sitting at the table, a friend of mine, and he was on about his 2.5 martini, see? So the baby is a baby just born. Her name is Monica. He stands up with the martini. Well, here's Monica. Here's a lovely baby. And he's spilling the gin. He's going all over the baby like that. And so years later, when my daughter grew up, and she would talk about moving, she and her husband, well, we might move. You know, you can't move. You are a Beltway baby. You were born in D.C. before there was even a Beltway, and what's more, you were christened by a lobbyist with a martini. You can't leave, and she
doesn't get
did.
any more unique than
That's
that.
right.
Our few remaining moments with Mark Russell when we come back right after this.